Hi, this video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. Get a whole month free at Mubi.com/YaraZade and stick around to the end for more information and recommendations. Let's get into it. I Know What You Did Last Summer is a terrible show, and here's why. I've always wanted to say that. My voice might be going in and out at times. I am still getting over a slight cold. Just bear with me. It is also allergy season, so double bear with me, I guess. Let's just lay out all the cards, okay? I Know What You Did Last Summer is not a good movie. Does it have the capacity to be entertaining? Sure. Is it a particularly good movie? Come on, man. I know some of us love it, mostly out of nostalgia, partly out of a love for slashers, whether they're good or not, and I'm not here to judge. You're talking to a neon maniac stan. Sometimes that bad shit just hits too good. Not that the 1997 version doesn't have good qualities. It's never bad to see Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she's a better character than any character in the whole movie. Seriously, I know we say a lot of characters should have been the final girls instead of the actual final girls we got, but Helen is the real deal. If she was the final girl, this movie might have been redeemable. I like Ryan Phillippe's kill, and the fact that everyone in the crowd is too stupid to realize what's going on. I like Helen's kill. It's really terrifying to be that close to help and not be able to reach it. This stuff works. If this stuff was the whole movie, maybe we could forgive it for being so boring, for playing it too safe, for not taking advantage of its location more, for a villain that's as scary as stale lettuce, for making Jennifer Love Hewitt's character a borderline Mary Sue, for having Freddie Prinze Jr. in a movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar and not making their explosive chemistry work to the film's advantage. If all that was taken care of, this could be a good movie, but alas. As it is, I Know What You Did Last Summer of 1997 is a tired collection of tropes and cliches cosplaying as a horror movie. Bless its heart. That being said, the 2021 TV series based off the original film and franchise makes the 1997 version look like a champion of artistic integrity. Where to start? I don't know whose idea it was to make a TV series based on a movie that was based on a book that was adapted so poorly the author was genuinely offended. In recent years, we've seen a rise in TV shows centering around old horror movies. The Scream TV series, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, Bates Motel, Hannibal, and in the year 2021, when this atrocity was released on Amazon Prime, the Sci-Fi Channel aired Chucky, based on the Child's Play movies, and it turned out to be amazing. Someone really should have just cheated on the test. I'm not shocked that a show based on a horror movie was written and greenlit. I'm just a little shocked that someone decided to do it on I Know What You Did Last Summer. If you're gonna make a TV show based on any 1997 horror movie, Mimic is the way to go, baby. And if you enjoy the 1997 film, please don't be offended. I'm not saying this so you can feel bad about something you enjoy. Enjoy the hell out of that shit anyway. If it still upsets you, I unironically enjoy Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. So you can bully me about that if it makes you feel better. There are plenty of things to like about this movie. I really think Helen is a great character. She's interesting, she's pretty tough, she's the prom queen. If we're being honest, she had the smarts to be the final girl, but it was the 90s, purity culture was all the rage, and there was no way they'd let the final girl be someone so unapologetically girly. God forbid you have a final girl who cares about her looks at the same time that she kicks a masked killer's ass. No slight against our tomboy heroines, by the way. There's just an obvious disdain for femininity in a lot of these movies. Ultimately, there's not a lot of quality tension building, and while Helen's chase scene alone belongs in the Louvre, the rest of the movie doesn't have an ounce of what makes this scene so perfect. The hook of having characters who aren't entirely guiltless is an attractive one. Too often, people make their lead characters mostly innocent Bambis naively frolicking in the woods, not knowing they're about to get hacked to shreds. The idea of these kids doing something so heinous and knowing full well that the person they did this to kind of has every right to fuck them up is really refreshing. Thank you, Lois Duncan. Sorry about what happened to your book. Actually, given all the ways the original adaptation of the novel didn't work, the 2021 show provided an opportunity to make a better adaptation of the book, or if they didn't want to look at the book at all, it was at least a chance to improve on the elements of the original film that didn't work that well. It was a chance to add some more tension, to maybe take better advantage of the location the characters dwell in, but of course, as I am making a video about it, that is clearly not what happened. I'm just gonna get into it. I Know What You Did Last Summer 2021 is a dumpster fire of a TV show. It's a disgrace to televisions, laptops, and phone screens everywhere. It's offensive to humans and animals and fucking dirt. In this updated version, we meet a group of characters at a graduation party. They're all about to be separated for their new lives as collegiate adults. On the night of the celebration, they hit someone on the road, and that turns out to be the twin sister of someone in their friend group. They cover it up, and a year later, someone starts taunting them with messages saying, "I know what you did last summer." As if that mysterious motivator wasn't enough spice for the plot, there's also a plot about cults, because why not? A subplot about the living twin's dad having sex with a police officer, because sure, I care. And a subplot about a dead mom who's not really dead and is living somewhere under a new name. Maybe a story like this could have some sort of entertainment value if the characters were something. I'm gonna introduce the characters, but first, take a look at how I described them in my initial notes for the show. Dylan, boring guy. Lennon, twin who's trying to be a badass. Allison, twin who didn't take SATs. Margot, obsessed TikToker. Riley, sparkly drug dealer. Johnny, the guy with the hair. May, Margot's mom, who's not a regular mom, but a cool mom. Okay, here they are for real. Lennon, the twin who's trying to be a badass, but is a major asshole for no reason at all. Lennon is the wild child twin, but she's also the apple of her father's eye. Sure, she uses people and manipulates them and sleeps with the love of her sister's life just to get back at her for something extremely petty, but she's the golden child. Her personality includes doing and saying mean things for no reason, doing drugs and referring to it as cereal, dancing for her OnlyFans account, having sex with her best friend Margot, who she apparently sees as being a cunt.
You and Margot are BFFs again? No, she's a cunt.
And walking around house parties in slow motion, because what is I Know What You Did Last Summer 2021 if not great value euphoria persevering? Allison, the twin who acts like a normal person. She's kind of depressed, doesn't really make an effort to go out in the world and get to know people. She didn't take her SATs.
No, that was a joke. I never took the SATs.
And has no intention of going to college. She doesn't like parties or people or her sister's friends, who used to be her friends too, but now they hate her for some reason. Other than that, her personality is almost exactly like her sister's. The acting is very similar for both characters. Whatever. Margot. Margot's entire personality is that she's rich and she's a social media influencer. She's very annoying, sickeningly upbeat, is always on her phone, and always has her face in the camera. She's very attention-seeking, and for many of the episodes, that is all we know about her. It's great, I'm happy to be here. Riley. Riley is a drug dealer. Johnny. Seriously though, Riley is a drug dealer. She's best friends with Dylan's character and, what else could I possibly say? I'm not convinced the writers of these characters really considered what any of them could potentially bring to the story. Riley seems shoehorned in. The drugs she sells don't even have any sort of influence on how the story develops, so establishing it and making it the central focus of her character makes it very obvious that all they had when they conceptualized her was that she was a teen drug dealer. That is it. Johnny. Johnny's the closest thing to being a human, but unfortunately the narrative only wants for him to play the gay best friend of the main character who dies first. He's the only character in the show who acts like a normal person, mostly a likable person, and they get rid of him by episode 2, so there's that. Dylan. Dylan's a fucking waste of space if there ever was one. Not only is the character a flat, boring interpretation of what a character is supposed to be. I would say an AI wrote this character, but I have no doubt that an AI could conjure up something a little more interesting. If all the other characters are caricatures or archetypes, Dylan is just a name on a piece of paper. In my Elite video, I gave Samuel a lot of shit for being so boring. And bless his heart, he is very boring. But this Dylan guy makes Samuel look as exciting as a roller coaster. His actor is very stiff, unconvincing, and delivers his lines like he's still at the table read instead of on his mark in front of the camera. The guy who plays Dylan is so bad. Like, everyone else here is struggling, but they're bringing something to the table. It may not be a pot roast, but they're bringing something. This one's bringing the Skittles, that one brought some bread. It's stale and it's wonder, but it is bread. This guy, on the other hand, shows up empty-handed and sucks the life out of every scene he's in. He's just not present. He's not feeling anything his character is saying, and seems to only have one mode of performance, which I guess is constipation. I was wondering how he got past the audition stage, but his mom was the executive producer, so I guess that answers that. A lot of the actors here are not it. With the exception of Brienne too, who has a terrible character, but I can't say it doesn't seem like she believes in what her character is doing and saying. Her acting works better than anyone else's in that she's clearly living in the character. She's not posturing like Riley's actress. She's not just standing there like Dylan's actor. She is in it and she's committed, and honestly, if this show was good for anything, it was having Brienne in the main cast. Congratulations, show, you did one thing right. How does the Gen Z version of I Know What You Did Last Summer fare? The plot is simple, the modern take is understandable, but how well does it all actually turn out? Not fucking good. Off the bat, there is simply way too much TikTok, way too much social media in general, and I may live under a rock, but I do not live under a mountain. I know social media is an important part of the lives of kids today, but that doesn't mean a show or a movie about kids today needs to have so many scenes of them recording dances for TikTok or posing for pictures on the gram. I can see them doing other stuff sometimes. Why, sometimes when I'm walking in my neck of the woods, I'll pass a teenager or a youth of some sort, and sometimes, a lot of the times actually, they're not making videos for TikTok or posing for the gram. It's almost like teenagers are multifaceted people. Could you imagine? This is one of those teen shows that loves and lives for hedonism. If there's any way to characterize the teen show genre since the debut of Skins, I swear I'll make a video one of these days without mentioning Skins. I know I'm capable of it. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. I had to make that joke, I'm sorry. Teen shows today are the entertainment equivalent of overdosing on low-stakes drama, betrayal, alcohol, partying, and, your local gang. Kids in TV shows don't really deal with the boring drama of familial strain or of trying to work a job as a teenager and keep good grades. Everything is partying, everything is sex. Just because I Know What You Did Last Summer is a horror show doesn't mean they approach it any differently. The first episode is set entirely at this giant house party, which could be an interesting location if the episode wasn't completely devoid of any actual horror. I thought it was pretty cool that the parents were present at this party because I never see that in movies or anything, but their presence doesn't mean much because the kids are still snorting lines of cocaine in the bathroom because of course they are. They introduce Lennon and Margot who are dancing with each other. We're 10 seconds into the episode and I'm already dead of secondhand embarrassment. Lennon is a not teenager's idea of what teenagers are like, but in the worst way. Plenty of adults write teenagers. I mean, the entire YA genre is adults writing teenagers. But most of them have the ability to not make caricatures out of the characters and to, treat them like they might be people. Lennon is a bad joke that goes on for way too long. And spoiler alert, I guess, but I'm also guessing you don't give a shit about spoilers for this shitty show. Lennon dies in the end, and thank God for that. Madison Iseman is playing two different characters, and her performance as both twins is pretty unvaried. So unvaried that I had to rely on glitter from the Bat Twins' cheek to tell the difference between the two. They have different values and enjoy different things, but personality-wise, they're almost identical. This is why we say Lindsay Lohan is a boss for playing Hallie and Annie because she switches up mannerisms completely. It's not just a change in the accent, it's in the walk. It's in the cadence of her speech. This is just evolving into a video about The Parent Trap being one of the few magnificent remakes the world has, hasn't it? So much of this episode and this entire show is dedicated to such petty drama. For example, and I'm about to throw a lot of names at you. If you can't keep up, don't worry. None of this matters. Allison, the good twin, has a crush on the walking cadaver Dylan because he is so dreamy.
Say hi, Dylan! Isn't he cute? I mean, like, in a Dan Humphrey kind of way.
No to that whole sentence. Lennon and Allison get into a fight over Allison not wanting to be like Lennon, or at least I think that's what they fight about. It's really hard to keep up because they fight like 3 times in this one episode. As a comeuppance or whatever, Lennon decides to sleep with Dylan, and the way this plays out in later episodes, Dylan holds a grudge against the fake Lennon. Oh, I need to explain this. Lennon, the bad twin, dies, but because she was wearing the hoodie of Allison, the twin who didn't take her SATs, they all think they killed Allison. So Allison goes along with it for reasons I don't fully understand and starts to live her life as her sister, Lennon. I don't know why she didn't just say, "You idiots, it's me, Allison." Anyway, long after Lennon sleeps with Dylan, Dylan holds a grudge against the fake Lennon as if he had no say in their sexual encounter. I should clarify, mainly because I did share a video about 40 Days and 40 Nights. The sex they had was consensual, so I really don't know what his deal is. It takes 2 to tango, my guy. Later he'll say he was in love with Allison, but if you're in love with someone, do you really fuck their sister just because she's there? Maybe, I don't know. Then Margot's upset when Lennon sleeps with Dylan because Margot is apparently in love with Lennon, and shit like that is the focus of this entire episode. It's so repetitive and uninteresting that even though, as I type this, I rewatched the first episode only an hour ago, I cannot tell you exactly what happened. Just to add to the already unnecessary drama, Riley is also in love with Dylan. If he was like Dan Humphrey, I think I'd get it, but he's not, and you all need to stop lying to him. It's mean.
Did you want a shot too, or?
Allison doesn't drink.
Could pour more.
More is good.
I don't even understand anyone here or what they're doing or why they're doing it. They leave the party because the cops come and Riley, the sparkly drug dealer, needs to get out of there. They all pile into Lennon's car, completely unaware that it's actually Allison behind the wheel. It's this scene right here that really drove in how annoying these characters are. They're all talking over each other, which I guess would be fine if they were saying anything. Margot is always on her phone, and she gives both us and her Instagram followers a bit of exposition on their friend group, which is really nice of her to do for the writer who didn't feel like sharing that information organically.
I'm here with the OGs, BFFs since kindergarten. Say hi, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. Hey.
Actually, come to think of it, a lot of the moments of cringe dialogue are just awkward exposition dumps that could have been handled way more smoothly, but instead of figuring out a natural way to give us that information, they just put it off on their caricatures and their name on a piece of paper to tell us, even when the person they're talking to already knows the shit they're saying.
My mom died. She was my mother too.
Take her to the cave.
It's where their mom committed suicide.
None of us are going to college or anywhere else. I mean, maybe Margot because she's rich, but the rest of us?
Really, is she? I didn't know that. After seeing the huge house she was living in, I thought she was staying there because she was poor. Stop fucking screaming! As if these characters couldn't get more annoying, in this one scene, someone starts playing a Charlie XCX song as if Charlie's music deserves to be included in this shit show. So the thing we're all waiting for finally happens. They hit someone, they get out, they see who it is, they think it's Allison because Allison is wearing the jacket that Lennon was wearing, and okay. Pause. Because this shit bothers the hell out of me. First of all, I understand why the showrunners or the costume people or whoever the fuck decided to make the twins wear practically the exact same outfit. They can't do a fake out or build suspense with which twin got hit if they're not wearing the exact same clothes, can they? But as a characterization thing, it does little to differentiate these sisters who are supposedly a world apart. The suggestion is not only that these twins can't stand each other, but that they're also so different it's almost comical. Are we going to pretend personalities don't come out in a person's fashion choices now? It's like the costumers were either too lazy to come up with different styles for each twin or just didn't see the point. I mean, shit guys, what do you need me to do? Send you a link to one of Mina Lay's videos for you to get it? If you think I'm nitpicking over nothing, please consider New York Minute. Roxy and Jane are very different. That's the whole point of the movie, that they don't really understand each other and they barely get along. Say what you will about New York Minute, but at least the costumers understood the importance of further showcasing the personalities of their main characters with their wardrobe. This scene where we see the contrast between their two closets is iconic for a reason. I know it's silly to go on this long tangent about two people wearing the same outfit being used as a plot device, especially when that plot device is kind of integral to building up mystery as to who ends up dead at the end of episode 1, but it's another element of the creators of the show not really taking their characters into account. The way these people dress is important, and unfortunately, none of their outfits, apart from Margot's, tells me anything about them. I also question if it's even needed for them to wear the same outfits, because Allison has been wearing this necklace since she was a kid. Everyone knows it's her necklace.
Hey.
Oh, Allison.
So in my eyes, they really didn't need to be wearing the exact same outfit as long as the necklace ended up on the wrong person. I don't know. Maybe that's stupid of me. One more thing. In order for us to remember the difference between the twins, they cover Lennon's cheek in glitter and star-shaped stickers. But when it comes time for someone to get hit, the glitter and the stickers are gone. At least show me something that happened for those to suddenly disappear, because what the fuck?
No one will find her if we put her in the cave. That whole cult killed themselves there. The tide just took them all.
The thing about the original Summer, I'm just gonna call it Summer, was that as fucked up a decision they made, it was very understandable that these teenagers wanted to hide what they did. They didn't know the person they hit. It was easy for them to leave them there and pretend it didn't happen. Also, Ryan Phillippe's character was very menacing with his anger, so I get it. I mean, if you were with him, you'd probably think he'd kill you if you told anyone.
Listen to yourselves! No! We are going to the police!
We don't have time for your shit!
Yeah, well, only one murder comes to mind.
You shut the hell up! We take this to our grave! Let me hear it! Let it go, Barry! You fucking say it.
He's very intense to Julie, so much so that when Scary Movie parodied this, it was exaggerated even more to poke fun at how Ray just does nothing while his girlfriend is being threatened.
We take this to our grave! Say it! We take this to our grave! Say it!
Come on, you're hurting. Great. Take us to our grave.
Ow!
With these characters, the person they think is Allison, one of their friends, not as close to them as Lennon, is dead, and they don't just decide to leave her there and let someone else find her, which already would have been bad. But after all, there's nothing they can do, she's dead. They decide to move her fucking body and hide it in a cave to someone they called a friend. That immediately makes these characters, who are already annoying as fuck, impossible to care about. Like, not even in a I want these characters to outrun the killer kind of way. These are just shitty people, and not in a way that's even mildly entertaining. They're just annoying, and now I'm just watching the show because I hope I get to see them all die horribly. Imagine my disappointment when the most likable character gets killed off first and the most annoying ones live on for a depressingly long time. They're also weirdly cavalier about dumping her body in the cave. It's actually really disturbing. The only thing interesting about this fake out is that it potentially leads to a story where the killer is the protagonist. I mean, I'd certainly want to kill my sister's friends who thought they'd killed me and decided to hide my body, and maybe it could have been a nice reveal in a universe where the pilot episode wasn't the most grating shit on the planet. So Allison cosplaying as Lennon comes back home and her dad immediately recognizes her, which I liked a lot. She can't fool him into thinking she's Lennon, and he protects her by having her officially take Lennon's place while they make up a story saying the real Allison ran away. I think this is kind of awesome, not only because the parents are involved in this story about their teenagers, which seems like a tall order these days, but because I would have to wonder how a father who raised an identical set of twin girls would be easily fooled by the shoddy acting of his daughter. Fortunately for us, he recognizes her right away and they make this plan together.
Allison, you can't turn.
Congratulations, show. I like this thing you did here.
I'm gonna go to the station right now. Turn myself in.
Oh. I lost one daughter tonight.
So we pick up a year after the main event, and Big Lennon returns home to find a goat head in her closet and this on her mirror. And yes, the mystery, the whodunit, the rich, horrific atmosphere we've been approaching rapidly. Except we're not. The real problem with this show, even more real than the acting, is that it doesn't care about horror. It doesn't care to be a horror movie. It also doesn't care about camp. The awful dialogue in this show, the desperation to have a bit of glitz and glamour added to the gore, which by the way is a fantastic recipe that I really support when done well, could be admirable if it went balls to the wall and just became campy as fuck. But tonally, it doesn't know what to do with itself. It veers wildly between being campy or wanting to be campy and wanting to be a serious murder mystery horror story. When I say it doesn't care about horror, I mean this show is way more concerned with the typical high school drama that we've seen far too much of for the past 60 or 70 years than it is concerned with being scary. It's too concerned with being this stylish thing with a good soundtrack, and it does have a good soundtrack, a wholly undeserved one at that, and so concerned with capturing great value euphoria visuals that it forgets the most important thing. None of this matters. There is no tension, there is no exhilaration, there's no chase, there's not enough blood. I mean, there's a beheading and a very interesting kill halfway through, but it's not enough to make up for the overall lack of suspense. And the fact that we keep pausing the story to make room for these pointless situations of pointless drama with pointless characters who have no redeeming qualities, it's really just, it's insulting. The nerve of basing a TV show off of one of the most iconic 90s slashers and then forgoing anything that might make it decent. No chase scenes, very few good kill scenes, no connection to the characters that makes us care about any threat posed to them, a very bad collection of possible villains. It's just, it is actually ass. Eventually everyone finds out about Lennon, but remember, they think she's Allison. Her body resurfaces in the ocean, and it is in weirdly good condition after being hit by a car and submerged in the ocean for a year. You're telling me nobody under the sea ate that ass? Oh, my bad. Apparently someone else had her body this whole time, and it just magically barely decomposed. After a year. The editing in this show is nightmarish, which I'm now realizing sounds like a compliment given that this is supposed to be a horror story, but no, that was an insult. It's so disorienting, gives little information, and the editing is abrupt in a way that doesn't add anything. Just look at this scene. Let me give you the setup. Johnny's dead. The killer's taunting everybody through text. Someone's been following Big Lennon. They theorize that it might be this creep Dale who happened to be there the night they killed Big Allison. He drives a truck similar to the one that's been following around Big Lennon, so they go go to his job with the goal of calling him out, I guess, but I don't know how effective that would be given that they're under the impression that this guy has literally just beheaded their friend, and they're planning on confronting him with no weapons and no backup and no plan. How do y'all have the nerve to be unlikable, uninteresting, and fucking stupid at the same time? Anyway, they go in, and this is what we see.
I don't get it.
They don't even show us Dale's body in this moment. We just get their reactions to it. And sometimes showing an actor's reaction to a thing instead of actually showing the thing can work. But that's only when the actors are, God, what's the word? Not these ones. They do end up showing us the body a little later when this cop finds Dale. But I just feel like showing it with the gang would be more effective because we can more deeply understand their paranoia. But that's another thing. They're being sent videos of their friend Johnny, the only likable one, remember? Being beheaded. And they are fine. None of them are the least bit upset or traumatized about it beyond this moment. Witnessing these deaths, finding dead bodies, none of that has any effect on them emotionally. I mean, to be fair, it couldn't have an emotional effect on Dylan, seeing as he's already a walking dead body given the way he emotes, which is not at all. The lack of impact, the fact that these characters barely respond to what's going on around them, translates to the overall story becoming less threatening. It also makes the kills feel weightless and drains scenes like this one of all possible suspense. You don't care about them, they don't care about them. Who gives a fuck about anything? Dylan is supposed to be the moral compass of the show, the one who is racked with guilt over hiding fake Allison's body. But can't we just recap whose idea that was in the first place?
We could take her to the cave. No one will find her if we put her in the cave.
Honestly, the show is so bad that even though I was sick while watching it the second time around, I didn't have anywhere to be. I was stuck in bed. I had no excuse not to watch this show to completion. And you know what I did? I decided my car needed to be washed, and I took it outside and did that instead of watching another episode, because I physically could not handle it. I had this idea initially to do a very deep dive and watch the whole thing with my own eyes, but I don't believe you need to suffer for your art. Also, who's gonna watch this anyway? My mom? Hi mom. So I just read the summary for the last 4 episodes. In the end, it's revealed that the killer this whole time was Margot. Maybe this is something I could have appreciated, but the fact that it leaves so many plot holes and the fact that to wrap everything in a bow, they just tack on a half-assed scene at the end where Margot literally explains to her followers on Instagram how she did everything, just like she did here. It is so lazy. I feel like the killer was someone else and they just changed it into Margot because some PA guessed how it ended and the execs got mad. I still think a better story would be Allison being the killer somehow. I mean, she is so ragged on at the beginning of the story. Johnny is her only friend, so I would have made Johnny be the final boy. I'd give Riley some more characterization. Dylan's cadaver ass would have died first, quite violently. Think about it. Allison accidentally kills her sister and realizes, to her shock, that she enjoyed it. Her last moments with her sister was Lennon just doing everything she could to hurt her as much as possible. Maybe Allison gets a taste for blood, and maybe she even kills her dad because Lennon was his favorite. When you think about it, a lot of horror movies are either revenge stories or survival stories. Not all of them, but quite a few. Even the original Summer is just a revenge thriller with the roles reversed. If it was from the perspective of the guy they left for dead, we might go, yeah bro, kill them, they left you for dead. This adaptation could have been something like that. Anything to make it make sense, to make it have any redeeming qualities. Anything to make it worthy of having the soundtrack that it has. You can't just put Charlie XCX and references to FKA Twigs in your show without making it worth my time. But instead, we get a show that's more concerned with being 90210, OC Degrassi next Dawson's Creek with a little bit of blood splatter than actually being a horror movie. Or show, whatever. It's disappointing as a show to the general audience. It's disappointing and insulting to horror fans. This is a wildly inconsistent, lumpy, ugly, stank-ass piece of shit. I could see how someone could enjoy this as a trashy TV show, but in my honest opinion, it's not even trashy enough to be entertaining. And here are the rest of the bad quotes.
You're a virgin who doesn't have a driver's license, so. Did you just misquote Clueless at me?
I'm gonna make you bigger than Doja. Pre-cancellation. Johnny! Get over here, my stunning queer king.
Are you not a bottom, Johnny? This is not pussy popping attire.
I think we should tell that sandpaper pussy police woman what we know.
FKA Twigs. She loved FKA.
You think I don't know how you got that A in AP Bio from Mr. Haskell. You fucked to get everything.
Please, call me Eric, okay? No, it's not students anymore. I'll see it on.
When did it start?
Senior year.
He and Johnny were so sweet together, and they waited till Johnny turned 18.
Mubi is a curated streaming service, a place to watch beautiful, interesting, incredible cinema. Every day, Mubi premieres a new film. From iconic directors to emerging auteurs, there is always something new to discover. With Mubi, each and every film is hand-selected. It's like your own personal film festival, streaming anytime, anywhere. Mubi is easily my favorite streaming service. When I reach that point where I'm like cutting down on my budget and I decide to cancel 5 streaming services, the only one I usually keep is Mubi. I just love all the films that they have available. I love that it exposes me to different types of directors, different auteurs, as they say, and I can't recommend it enough. This time around, I have a very special movie that I want to recommend to you people, and that is Justin Chon's award-winning directorial debut is now showing on Mubi in the US and Canada. The first feature-length film from Justin Chon, and it's one of his most personal films to date. It takes place during the 1992 LA riots after 4 police officers were acquitted in the Rodney King case. During that time, Chon and his family were affected by the riots and by the heated tension that was rising between the Korean-American community and the Black community. Chon reflects on this tension, on the violence that unfolded, all through a lens of grit and sensitivity. His understanding of the complexities that come with these topics makes his take on the subject especially nuanced, and that doesn't even begin to describe his use of cinematic language or his capturing of visual poetry. Following 2 brothers trying desperately to keep their father's shoe store open and their friendship with the 11-year-old Camilla, the daughter of a deceased family friend, the film covers discrimination, implicit bias, the meaning of family, and the fracturing of the American dream. For a subject so heavy and so complicated, Chon pulls it off in a way that seems almost effortless. You can tell that it's a topic he lived through, reflected on, and put a lot of thought and care into. He's come to be one of my favorite directors of late, with films like Miss Purple and the 4 episodes he directed of the amazing show Pachinko. I really think it's a movie that everyone should see, and I think more people need to be exposed to Curtis Cook Jr.'s performance in this. Check it out on Mubi. It's on Mubi. And if you don't have Mubi, this is the great part. You can sign up and get 30 days free by visiting mubi.com/YaraZade. So get those 30 days free, watch that movie, thank me later. Bye.